If there's any interruptions during this video, I apologize, because I'll probably have to end up going in that direction so you guys don't hear any conversations via phone. But you know, I've watched plenty of wrestling related vids and rants by people like Schleg Daddy on OTRS Central and Chase Oliver and many others. And you know, Tree of Woe and No DQ and all that. And you know, the one thing about WWE is logic today, today's WWE logic, if you will, is it's unlogical, it's illogical, or unlogical, whatever you want to call it. In other words, it makes no sense. Okay? I mean, as good as TakeOver was, and believe it or not, it was good, you have this big opportunity to turn your new women's champion in NXT into a babyface, and yet, according to some spoilers, for the next few weeks, she's still a freaking heel, and the person you're focusing on with the babyface run is Summer Rae, which probably was expected anyway. But still, you have this huge opportunity. Now, as I mentioned in a video where I talked about the whole heel babyface thing in both WWE and TNA, you know, like I mentioned there, unless WWE and NXT plans to split Charlotte and Sasha off down the line and have them feud for the women's title, that's one thing. But if you're not going to do that, what was the point of her doing that little babyface promo backstage? What was the point of her having that babyface moment in the ring after she won? There was no point. Absolutely no point whatsoever. And again, this is just WWE's logic today. It's like they don't realize, hey, she just got a babyface reaction. She just had a babyface moment. We should turn her babyface. But no, the unlogical and the nonsensible thing to do, oh, let's keep her heel. Now, like I said, unless there's a possibility they're going to turn her face, that's an entirely different question. Then that's an entirely different... Well, basically, like I said, if there's a reason behind this, like I said, having a feud with Sasha Banks, then I can understand that, but still, it's kind of unlogical right now, or illogical, that you wouldn't even consider turning her babyface. You wouldn't. And, you know, right now, after what you saw at TakeOver, and that's just, again, that's just by WWE's logic standards today. It's like they just don't get it. It's like the light bulb doesn't go off. You know, when as far as Payback goes, yeah, I could see that it was good pay-per-view / special event. I could see that. I could see that. But in today's WWE, with today's WWE logic, you think they would realize that when they're booking an event, when they're trying to find a venue, an arena to book an event like Payback, and no offense to Chicago, Chicago's a great wrestling town, don't get me wrong. But if you know you're going there, and that crowd's going to be basically against all your top tier stars, unless they have people, unless you associate them with people that they do get behind, unless you have, I mean, the thing with today's logic, and this is what makes this video so hard to do, is there is no logic. It's like they don't get it, they don't grasp it. They don't get it, they don't grasp it. You see, when you, again, nothing against Chicago, it's a great wrestling town. But if you're going to book pay-per-views there, you make sure you have the talent they want to see in that ring. You're going to have, knowing you're going to be in Chicago, let's see. You have them chanting CM Punk. You do your best to try to make it known that he's no longer with the company as far as we know, and that he's possibly retired. And yet, the fans are still chanting for CM Punk, and you don't prepare yourself for that. You try to work it in, and yet you don't prepare yourself for that. This is why if you're going to do a pay-per-view event like Payback, and you know you're going into a place that's the home of one of your top stars, or formerly one of your top stars, you don't hold the event there. Again, nothing against Chicago, nothing against them. But you don't hold the event there. What you do, and this is the more logical sense, you book an arena in a venue, in a town, in a city that understands that this is sports entertainment, that this is WWE, and that these are the people that are the focus. These are the matches. These are the reasons. You book it in an area that understands that. Not saying Chicago doesn't understand that. Not saying any of these smart mark towns don't understand that. All these after WrestleMania arenas and places don't understand that. They do. But the thing is, they use this, and you think WWE, by logic standpoint, would embrace that and maybe say, okay, these people want CM Punk. Let's do our damnedest to get CM Punk back. Or if you hear them booing someone like Sheamus and cheering someone like Heyman and Cesaro, you see them booing people booing the likes of a John Cena, but cheering Bray Wyatt, cheering the Usos, you think, these are the people they want to see. By logic standpoint, we should focus the event, if it's going to be in this town, on them. And if anything, even if it's embarrassing to do, and even if it's hard to do, if I'm WWE, the most logical standpoint, most logical thing to do, even on air, is have my announcers, if you will, acknowledge, because you're in a smart mark town, acknowledge the past that certain individuals have. Not just, oh, they cut their teeth in this town. No, you acknowledge the promotions. Seth Rollins. You acknowledge, oh, this guy cut his teeth here in Chicago as part of the Ring of Honor organization. Dean Ambrose, if you go to Philadelphia, Dean Ambrose cut his teeth here as part of the CZW promotion. Daniel Bryan cut his teeth here in Chicago, cut his teeth in Philly, all part of the Ring of Honor Association. And so on and so forth. But do you do that? Is that the most logical thing to do? Yes, in my opinion. Does WWE do that? No. Which is why you have people chanting CM Punk instead of doing the logical thing and saying people are chanting for CM Punk even though CM Punk walked out on this company. If I'm the announcers, or if I'm Triple H or I'm Stephanie, I come out and say, look, I know you're cheering for CM Punk and everything, but you guys have to understand, he quit on you. He walked out on you. All because he couldn't handle it anymore. He decided to retire at a time when we didn't need him to retire. So, that's the logical thing to do. Acknowledge it. Don't ignore it. And you know what's going to be funny? Is when this all blows up in your face. In WWE's face. When it blows up in their face. Yeah. Because they just don't get it. They just don't embrace it. And it's logic to say those kind of things, acknowledge those kind of things, so that at least you understand. So you understand, these are the most logical things to say and do. Yeah, you can have a great last man standing match. Hey, no problem. I thought it was good, despite what some people might think. I thought it had some good moments. But the most logical thing to do if I'm WWE and I'm on a freaking smart mark town, and I'm in a smart mark town that's behind your Bray Wyatt character, you allow Bray to go over, or you freaking draw the match. That's what you do. You put the match in a draw to say, hey, this is how good it was, the fact that nobody could answer the 10 count. Or you find a way for Bray to go over. I mean, no offense to John Cena. I respect for everything he does, despite how people feel. But the thing is, if you keep constantly have John Cena going over in these last man standing matches or these I Quit matches, people are going to basically already know the outcome before it happens. Despite how good the match may be, if it's announced, oh, John Cena, he's going to face who I think will be his next opponent down the line, Rusev. Let's say, oh, he's going to face Rusev in an I Quit match down the line. You pretty much know Cena's going to beat Rusev. Pretty much already know that. You know, if you have John Cena face Randy Orton in an I Quit match like he did before, you pretty much know Randy Orton's going to lose. If you have John Cena face a Bo Dallas, which obviously is something they're going to probably build towards in the future,